Discussion on the sidelines of the Nuclear Security Summit. The Chinese and U.S. presidents meet to discuss areas of common interest and concern. And already two key agreements. One, setting a date for signing the Paris Climate Change Agreement. The other, on nuclear security. CCTV's Jessica Stone has more on all of this from the White House.
And Mike, these have been two key areas of cooperation between the U.S. and China. Climate change dating back to that very important agreement in November 2014 back in Beijing, setting the table for the Paris climate talks. And now a communique already released between the U.S. and China ahead of the Nuclear Security Summit. Let's take you through some of the highlights that China and U.S. and the United States are planning to continue to meet to intensify their cooperation throughout the years ahead. That's after this summit ends under the Obama administration. So a plan to go forward there. Joint efforts to convert highly enriched uranium to low enriched uranium, which essentially means that it cannot be used for weapons. That is going to go on in reactors that China has built in Ghana and in Nigeria. The U.S. is going to help with that. China has already done this in its own reactors with the United States' help in Beijing. Now, they're also going to work towards broad agreement on anti-nuclear smuggling, as well as working on training with China actually has a customs training center for radiation detection. They're going to work through that effort, and they're also going to work on cooperating on securing radioactive sources. All of this coming out ahead of the summit, which is just about to begin with the working dinner this evening, Mike.
And you're there at the White House, as you said, about to be packed with world leaders. In fact, some of them I saw already arriving. What are we expecting there?
Well, we're expecting a sort of informal opening, toasts and a meal together with the 36 leaders of the countries that are here. These are just the heads of state and heads of government that have been invited to this. We've already seen Director General Amano of the IAEA arrive for the dinner, and we know that President Xi and President Obama will be seated side by side. They'll both be able to make remarks ahead of this, and that just sort of underscores the ongoing cooperation between these two countries. You know, who is not going to be here, of course, is Russia. They declined to attend, and they were not invited as a result. Iran was not invited. They were never a part of this infrastructure from the beginning. And also Pakistan and Belgium, their leaders were actually were intending to come, but of course the recent terror attacks in those countries have taken their attention. They are sending their representatives, including Jan Jambon, who is the Interior Minister in Belgium. You know, they have recently underscored the importance of these talks, Mike, because of course there was surveillance tape found in a Paris attacker's apartment of a nuclear official in Belgium. So that's just going to be a background to these talks, Mike.
And as you're talking, we're seeing more attendees arriving there at the White House. The Egyptian delegation just showing up. Again, color guard and present, a lot of pomp and ceremony there. All of this, of course, ahead of the big day for the Nuclear Security Summit on Friday. Still a lot of ground to cover, isn't there?
Absolutely, and one of the driving forces throughout this summit process since the beginning has been to get more nations to sign on to this international framework for nuclear security that's known as the Amendment on the Convention for Physical Protection of Nuclear Materials, and that essentially would protect nuclear materials not only in transit domestically, but internationally and in storage. They are now just 7 countries away from that amendment being ratified, and that's going to be a big focus of these talks.
Jessica Stone live for us there at the White House, where it's going to be a very busy night.